Hello and welcome to Clawful Evil Probable Claws, a show where we discuss Wildbow's quickest work. I'm your conniving hostess, Kipos.
And I'm your very villainous hostess, Vice Versailles. This week we're interrogating Arc 5, The Quick, with our special guest...
Hi, I'm Vivi's dear friend, Cyrano de Bergerac. Vivi kidnapped me several months ago. I've been slowly losing limbs while she records podcast episodes.
Are you comfortable? Do you need anything? Water?
I am perfect, thank you.
Yeah, the generator that we keep running to keep you alive is still going. Nobody's damaged it.
Ouch! Just kidding.
Arc 5, hey, what an arc.
Sweet
yeah.
Jesus.
The experience of having your limbs chopped off was really turned into an arc.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, like this is our different perspectives arc, and I wasn't expecting it before we got into it, and I've been really enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, for most of our discussion in previous arcs, we have been thinking, there'll be like a character arc, like one perspective per, and not only did that rule get broken, but it got broken in a really lovely way. I kind of felt like we were running through who was going to get to have something really, really terrible happen to them. But then in the 4 beats, there's Ripley. And then that's kind of...
It's like a wheel of fortune where we're just spinning and spinning and spinning and waiting for another disaster.
You lose.
Yeah.
And this was my first Wildbow work, so I especially didn't know what the rules were and was not ready for the perspective switching.
Well, yeah, it's definitely a derivative, like a change up from the standard where, there have been interlude arcs, there have been like multiple interludes per arc, there have been in Pale, there's a main cast of 3. So, I mean, I like the spinning wheel because it felt like the pace went up into maximal hell zone, at least partially because everyone could have different terrible things happening to them in their different silos. Even when they were together, there was the ability to be in different rooms with terrible things happening.
Yeah. And man, I don't want to jump the gun too much by getting straight into it for the chapter summaries, but it is so atmospheric to have the perspective character's name in the first sentence of everything. It's like a death knell. Like
and now
something's called your name. You've been summoned. Observe your fate.
Yeah, I also really like how we kind of got into. I think it was in 5.3 or 5.4 where we learn that like something bad has happened to Ripley, and we then only learn about it in Ripley's chapter. And it's so, the escalation here of violence is fantastic. And I really, really enjoyed it.
I loved how the community was in like every stage of grief about what condition Ripley was in. Between 5.3 and 5.4, like an arm, like an entire, like a massive mutilation. What? That can't be right. She's a kid. Nope. Reddit plain. It is exactly that bad.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because the youngest, Andre, says, like, he's taken a piece of her, and we don't find out what that is until we see from Ripley's perspective where she's straight up missing an arm. Because I think, like a lot of people, I think we talked about this in the episode, it's like a lot of people, I think, assumed, like, a very small piece, like he'd taken, like, some fingers or something, which, I mean, it's fucked, either way, like, it's a 11-year-old girl getting mutilated, like, it's fucked up. But, yeah, I don't think anybody was really prepared for Ripley to just be fucking missing an arm.
Straight to the extreme, no escalation.
So brutal. And you were convinced, like, I was doubting whether it might be a false report and Ripley might actually be fine. But you had no pretenses. You're like, nope. I know this writer. That child is in pain. Oh no.
Well,
but neither of us anticipated the whole arm.
Pardon me. What arc of Worm are you up to again?
6.
Okay. Let's get into the chapter summary.
You bastard.
In 5.1, dropping Sterling off at emergency daycare, Ben fumbles for what to do next while an active protest clashes with the civil warriors. Ryder reveals what deals with the devil were needed to break the angel circle, and the pair commiserate about how it ain't like it was in the old days. They take the road of most resistance to rescuing the hostages, getting cut in the window when the door was unlocked. Bolden gets the drop on them, and the Angel of Death tells them to go argue on the internet. When returning the hostages comes to nothing, like Mia and Carson predicted, Ben and Ryder cancel the Cavalcantis on Twitter, baiting the Civil Warriors into a civil war and framing Davy for Nicholas's shooting, then head off right away to save Ripley and Natalie.
And then in 5.2, Valentina and Carson go shoot the shit with piss-slinging cowboys. Val has a panic attack when the lights go down. Dale tells them he won't start horsing around with kidnappers, and when asked to observe, all Val can see is how badly things are or have going / gone. Oh, that was a sentence. They meet with...
For me, I'm a bit more acrobatic.
Yeah. They meet up with Mia in the whitewashed wake of the Warriors, tune into Annika's radio, return to the unsafe house to find the kids unnapped, and Max asks, "What the fuck, y'all?" Bolden intervenes before everyone can be more of an idiot than they already are, and Cara and Mia decide to support their new daughter in her new hobby, dark vengeance.
Oh, man. Oh, in 5.3, Carson laments Camrose's apocalyptic traffic, putting a spotlight on how people just can't relax. He and Mia commiserate about what went wrong and what they can do in the future, teaching Valentina that the past has a 100% chance of happening, as consecutive ambushes neatly demonstrate. Carson uses his $1 million mug to bluff some muggers, and Mia puts their heads together for a diabolical solution. He reflects on their connection, like that one time Mia told him her mother was dead, in flagrante delicto. Deducing where Ryder and Benito are lurking, they insist on a team-up, or else.
I full disclosure, I did not know that you were going to have that chapter summary. But when I realized, I committed to that bit. In 5.4, Ben watches Carson and Mia prepare for the Cavalcantis and Civil Warriors, trying to nail them with hard-hitting questions while they set spike traps. The Civil Warriors just ask some questions about whether the guards are real, white-blooded European Americans, and bullets start flying. Mia conducts another benevolent kidnapping, and Ben politely informs her that we live in a society. As everyone loses their patience with him, Ben mans up the only way anyone here seems to know how, shooting and killing some of the fighters. Recognizing the fighting is likely to escalate further, Carson pistol whips the youngest Cavalcanti brother, and the kids go all in.
Then in 5.5, Ripley is nigh delirious with pain because her mum won't get out of her room and leave her alone. Oh, and her arm has been ripped off, which is hardly fair. After bearing the brunt of Arlo's abuse, he's almost as bad as Miss Garvey. Natalie gives her a hand via the old mirror for your mirror neurons trick. They talk friends, books, hobbies, and Ripley asks her to promise to spend more time crafting a better life for Sterling. Davy parades the pair in front of his partners, droning on about tough love over dinner. He kidnaps the mayor's son Brian and has Natalie punched in the gut for not having enough zazz. But Carla provides a fork for Ripley to pick the handcuffs with. They meet the rest of Davy's victims, and what's this? It's Natalie Teal with a steel crowbar. Still trapped in Davy Jones's locker, Ripley resolves to implement a magic trick.
What a brutal chapter. Actually, I only just remembered hearing the summary now, but I read that chapter in a giant cemetery.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, I was sitting by Henry Lawson's actual grave reading about Ripley's novel. Oh, man. 5.6. Moses is driving Valentina to a playdate with the kids. Jermaine gets her a bit hot under the collar before he reveals how he poured boiling water on his dad, and Mia interrogates Tony Arcuri about ways to blackmail Davy. Except everything he does qualifies and none of it matters anymore. Carson assures Valentina that all these changes she's going through are perfectly normal, while Ben takes credit for her character development. Between catching Addie's strays and rooting around her room for clues, Valentina asks Julito and Kenny to drop the gay bomb topic, has a heart-to-heart with Michelle about lucidity, self-control, and cunt-punching, and eventually finds the email chain that blows the case wide open. Davy has been grooming Addie into the same sort of monster he is. Realizing that his actions have consequences, Tony turns on Davy and willingly helps the Hursts, while Mia gets a transmission. Ripley is in the vents.
In 5.7, with Davy drones blocking out the stars, the Claw crew close in on a plan. With only 2 jammers and plenty of injuries against his fortress, it's not going to be easy. Another power outage, pedigree unknown, has left the city as dark as Mia's mood. The victims in the basement are starting to go sour without a doctor or life support. Carson can't find the right USB cable, and, studying Valentina's map, they realize that the Hursts are just too jacked to get into the vents to find Ripley. After organizing collateral with Ben and Ryder, they separately start to skulk through the forest toward the mansion. Mia leaves a big baby in an overheating car, Carson sticks a pig, and they overhear the Cavalcanti rank and file start to rankle at fulfilling Davy's orders. The man himself sends them to investigate the investigators, So the Hearsts sneak into the dragon's lair to try and drag out what's wrongfully theirs.
Oh, God, what an arc. I mean, like, even just reading back through the chapter summaries here, and it's like, oh yeah, this stuff happened in this arc. Like, rescuing Addie and the girls. Like, that was 5.1. That's crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, just to get started, do do we have favorites among all of these? Because each of them, I think, is like an incredibly compact and high momentum action like clip. Like you could probably like take the singular vibes of any one of these chapters and expand them into an entirely different genre of film. And like I found all of them to be really like visually vivid in terms of like that sort of action movie tropes, like the things as they were unwinding, especially Carson's description of like driving in the dark with the spotlights
Oh, so
wandering
good.
around.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say my favorite is the Valentina chapter,
Oh,
um,
okay.
because like
Which one?
in it'd be the second one,
Yeah.
when she is investigating Addie, because there was a lot that was culminating in her character arc there,
Mm-hmm.
um, and the sensation of just the entire house and community being treated like a puzzle box as she's trying to, hear the insights and absorb information so that she can become insightful enough to understand Addie.
Yeah, it's like a goddamn clue board.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
really satisfying to me.
that was a
So
good
that's
chapter.
my favorite.
It was Ben in the kitchen with good intentions.
No.
I think my favorite's probably relatively easy. I have to say 5.5 because it's just so perfectly horrific. Yeah,
Yeah,
everything with Ripley in there, it's just heartbreaking the entire time, and it really got to me, and I really liked it. So,
yeah,
yeah,
that that chapter is a masterpiece
yeah,
of atmosphere. I saw it in my mind, beat for beat, sentence by sentence.
yeah.
It was like being trapped in a hot car of a chapter. It was just I couldn't get out of it. I was just stuck there in that little steel room, like driving around with Valentina, being inside her head. All of these chapters are absolutely stunning, but 5.5 is truly monstrous. Of
Mm-hmm.
an
Yeah, I definitely agree, and that's why it's my favorite.
it made me feel awful. Well done.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like it did genuinely. It made me feel horrible.
Mm,
But like that was the intention. So
mm,
like Wildbow nailed it. So yeah.
absolutely.
It's odd because as far as putting like content warnings on our episodes go, um, in order to watch them and understand what's going on, you have to have already read the chapter. So like we're like, talking about Ripley and what happened to Ripley makes me feel like we need to like put up like big flashing signs that say, "Hey, imagine if a kid got mutilated. Wouldn't that be fucked? Do you want to hear about that today? Are you in a good place for that?" Because I don't think it is possible to be. It was, I mean, the thing that sticks with me of all of it in terms of how harrowing it was Ripley reaching for stories to try and be able to
Ugh.
tolerate the pain, and
Yeah.
it straight up not working.
Yeah.
Like she tries to visualize, she tries to bring narratives in, and it just still sucks. It does not work. Which is there's no world in which an 11-year-old is equipped for this scenario, but it's heartbreaking to see someone try and use their tools to cope with something and watch those tools break against the challenge.
Mm. Yeah, and the planning about the bionic arm and like trying to spin things in a positive light. It's like, oh honey, you're gonna be here for a while. You want to save up. Like it's only gonna work for so long.
Mm.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
you just watch her like think it through, and then the thinking falls through, and then back to chatting with Natalie, thinking about the arm, thinking about stories,
Mm.
and then just the ruin bears down on you.
Mm.
So is 5.5 your favorite as well?
Yeah, I mean, can't beat a cooler full of ice with your own arm in it. Like there's no, like, nothing's gonna beat that.
Well, of course you can't beat it. Your arm is already in the cooler, so you can't beat.
I've been thinking about pink water for the past month. Like it's been every moment of every day, pink water.
Never gonna look at pink lemonade the same again, huh?
No.
Yeah, I think especially what makes that horror work so well is it's like it's not like fully frozen, like it started to defrost.
Yeah,
I think that really, like slowly warming water with your own arm sitting in it. Ugh.
And every time someone new encounters the arm, like we've had our eye on the arm since we first spotted it. Because like initially it was like the water is pink, the blood is flowing, and this arm is in the cooler, and it's right there, but it's not attached to my body anymore. And then Davey takes it up, and we're just watching it second by second warm up and flop around the table and get damaged and bruised. And then it goes back in the cooler, but the water's melted. And then by the time Mia gets there, it's too late. And it's starting to bloat. And you messaged me the other day about Mia and Ripley holding hands, which was
well,
which, how dare you?
As far as the release goes, no one listening to this needs to know about 6.1. We have read ahead as time has passed. But the arm, I remember that we didn't actually discuss it in our in 5.4. It was like in the Ripley chapter because there was a lot to unpack.
So much.
So.
Thank you for catching me on accidentally mentioning Arc 6.
What? A sixth
arc
in this book? That couldn't be right. It's more likely than you think. But I'm really torn on you two both liking this chapter so much, because here I was thinking that I alone was the Natalie stan.
No, I mean, Natalie is fantastic in 5.5. And I think I do remember mentioning, like, when we did our podcast on it, like, it's heartbreaking, like, watching her in 5.5, because there's nothing she can do. Like, every move she makes is wrong. And that just hurts to see, because she's trying so hard and fucking up every time, but there's no way to not fuck up. It hurts. And it's brilliant. Like, it's fantastic, but it hurts so much.
Yeah, I would not call Natalie my favorite character by a long shot, but the way my feelings for her have been like tossed back and forth every time I see her is very impressive.
A tennis match of a human being.
Yeah, like we know Ridley is just an absolute sweetheart and deserves none of this. And you know that Valentina is my favorite. But watching Natalie teal and like one moment going, "Oh, you poor thing, you've really been through the ringer," and the next moment being like, "I want to strangle you with a piano wire." Like, it's just been like tick tick, like metronome back and forth between those two.
Yeah, and it's especially heartbreaking, and this is something that Wildbow does really well in like all of his web series. Like, you see why Natalie is why she is. Like, you can track all of her like past trauma and everything that's happened to her and say, okay, yeah, like, I get why you do the things that you do, but they still suck so much. Like, yeah, it's hard.
Why can't dysfunctional people just function?
Jeez.
Have you thought about it?
Yeah. Well, speaking of dysfunctional people, and the counterpart, and people that want to grow up, Natalie. As far as the status report goes, initial expectations, we were waiting on perhaps a Mia perspective.
Yeah, I was looking forward to a Mia perspective. I mean, we get essentially a Mia chapter from Ben's perspective in 5.4, I think. Yeah. Because it's so focused on Mia, that one, and I really,
because he's following her around like a little creep.
Actually,
no, I really liked that we didn't get a Mia chapter, because I have theories about I have thoughts and feelings about the perspectives.
Well, she's kind of like the spoke of the wheel, as things are like turning around her, they're turning around her, and in terms of how they pick up momentum. And it's never a Mia perspective, but it is perspectives on Mia.
Yeah, and like the degree of separation we have from her has been slowly increasing as time goes on, because we start inside her head, and then we go to her second in command, Carson, and then the new child who's very grateful to her but doesn't quite know her, and then someone who's like outright hostile to her objectives, which is Ben. And then we have this splintering as we just like whirl around her in fast pace, and we haven't, well, doing it ostentatiously, we have not been back inside her head. So this claw, this tight fist that's holding on to a sphere of control and surveillance and having people to trust but not quite trust. It's been getting harder and harder and harder as the circle goes outwards, and we've suddenly become aware of the scale of Mia's opposition and the things that she's tracking and trying to beat back or hold close, and it's all splintering as we bounce from head to head to head, and like this arc, we didn't stay with anyone long enough to really get a sense of how they're feeling as far as I'm concerned. Like, we spent a whole arc with Ben, got to know him pretty well, and now we're jumping from person to person, and I have no idea what anyone's thinking.
And
except for Ripley, who
is thinking,
yeah, I especially like that, like, because we had 2 Valentina chapters here, and like we have then grown to understand what, like, where Valentina is more by seeing her from Carson's perspective, where Carson is saying, like, if she goes with Ben and Ryder, like, she's gone forever. Whereas, like, that is not a perspective I got from her chapter itself.
Carson was so confident.
I love Carson.
And it makes sense, because in a way, resolving what happened with Addie, understanding Davy's role and what happened to Valentina through Addie, it was like really the core of where Valentina's like willingness to participate in all of this was coming from.
Yeah.
And she satiated it. She has her answer, which very rare opportunity. So Carson being able to go, you've resolved that, and you're no longer nearly as attached as you were, is very perceptive of him. But here I am talking when we're in the room with number 1 Valentina Sen, my dear friend Cyrano Bergerac.
I have adored Valentina from the first moment that I met her, and she is the most important character. And no, I will not be taking questions, except I am going to talk about it. Valentina is, in my opinion, in the most fascinating position in this story, because I think her allegiance is, I mean, we have people with competing allegiances who, like, are drawn in different directions because of self-interest, but like, I loved reading Carson wondering if Valentina was going to clear out with Ben and Ryder, because Valentina is old enough, is like, in a way that Ripley and Tia don't have that privilege. Valentina is old enough to properly reflect on whether she wants to be part of what Mia is offering. So, like, obviously Ripley's in a lot of pain because she's realized that everything isn't what she thought, but Valentina gets to decide if everything that Mia does is worth it.
Yeah, I really, I like that. She's very much like the outsider's perspective on their little family unit. Even as she's been brought into it, she's somewhat kept herself at arm's reach. Yeah.
So I think, we've written down the notes. Truly at the crossroads of this absolute car crash. If Claw was to have
a funny way to pronounce fucking.
If Claw was to have only one perspective, I would want it to be hers. That's a direct quote from me in the document.
I was listening carefully.
Yes, I think, because obviously we're so fascinated to see where everyone ends up at the end of this story. But I think whatever Valentina ends up deciding is what I will take away, because she's in the position to decide.
It would be really nice if, everyone, like, ends up on the other side of this story, bruised, battered, angry. Mia, like, draws a gun on Natalie. Natalie throws a crowbar at Mia, and Valentina catches the bullet and grabs the crowbar on Mia and says, "You two, get along. I have insight and wisdom, the likes of which you've never seen. I think you're both forgivable." Fuck off about it. That's my new BS prediction. I didn't write it down anywhere, but I'm gonna go for that one.
That's canon. That's
yeah.
Absolutely.
Listen, I'm the fanfic writer here. Really, if I
believe Mel can catch bullets if she really tries. I love how much Carson and Valentina have been getting time together, because they've been talking about Mia and about trust. And I find, after all this time, I still feel like, after all this time, my feelings about Carson are still conflicted. Like, I remember, like, really early on when I was starting to record, we were talking about Carson, and you were immediately, like, head over heels. You were like, yes, this is the man.
I'm a big Carson fan.
Yeah.
I keep it to myself, but it's or at least I think I do.
You like
But
it.
I don't know.
But I was not convinced because I got the big impression that he was a guy who had just found a nice place to settle, and if it stopped being comfortable, then he would sort of move on. That sort of like drifter mentality of this seems fine, I can chill here, and I love him, but I still kind of think of it that way, and so I don't 100% trust him. So him and Val talking about Mia, I was very invested in that.
I mean, I think like on Carson, there's that excellent bit in 5. Oh my god, let me try and remember. 5.3.
Oh God, was my favorite chapter.
I think that's all of them. 5.3, where he just kind of talks about not really caring if he lives or dies anymore. Which like, and the fact that he's like willing to risk his life to make it so that they could get out of this little ambush, so that everybody else could get out of this little ambush and like maybe save Ripley. And I adore him. I think he's all in. But I think he is just muted with his emotions.
Maybe that's it.
I look at Carson and I see a foil to Davy, where like Davy's operation is a lot more about like much more reflected in what Mia is doing. But it is also the antithesis of what Carson's first impulses were. Like Davy has built something, Carson had been drifting. But
Carson has Zaz, Davy has none.
Truly. I mean, Carson is the most zazzed man on the planet, as far as we know. He's got that zazz in him. But the word is now stuck on my tongue, and I'm going to say it every time I ask for it. It's just going to, it's just going to enter into sentences randomly.
Good.
But in my mind, like where Davy has fixated on this strange and hostile experience of love as like the center of his world, the thing that he is willing to build up around, Carson has found something, a version of love that is much more constructive than destructive. And he's only found it very recently, but I think like that the willingness to sacrifice himself as opposed to Davy's like requirement to make himself an object of adoration is like the natural flip side there, where Carson had already mastered making people adore him. Now he wants to be like have something that he adores. He wants to express love. He wants to value things. He wants to build things. Whereas Davy's like approach was like has only ever been trying to create adoration for himself. So even through a sort of numbed, selfish lens, one of them has found something real and worth living for and lovely, and the other has found a way to take the word love and just make it completely incorrect for whatever is going on. So I see the parallels there, especially when matched Mia to Natalie, then matching Davy to Carson.
I really like that, and I want to clarify that my slight vague mistrust of Carson is purely an emotional thing, and I think it is that, I mean, I don't feel like I fully know his motivations even now. Like, what makes a man go to these lengths? Love, obviously. Yeah. But I remember someone said that Carson is a very well written psychopath.
Singachi, I think it was.
Yeah. So I think, I think the Davy parallel is really strong there.
I don't think he's ever lost the ability to go cold on people, as it were. Like there is that moment where Max speaks his mind, Bolden has to speak up because, as Valentina realizes, both Mia and Carson were ready to turn around and backstab Max.
Yeah, they're about 30 seconds from clobbering him over the head, and
yeah. I think Carson found that sharpness first in life, like that ability to just do whatever was most practical. And he's found love with his darling devil wife, who can make shakshuka of that guy's skull, as you famously said, my dear friend.
I'm really obsessed with shakshuka at the moment. I can't not mention it in every conversation. It's really good. It's really good.
I mean, what a moment as well from Mia. Oh, so good. I love that moment. I love Mia.
If you two want to take a horny interlude now, that's fine.
So sorry.
For those at home, we before we recorded, these two were just jonesing about Mia. Okay, they
Can you blame us?
They would not stop. And you can do it now if you wish.
What's my type, Phoebe? It's like a 6 feet tall, strong, compassionate, ambitions for motherhood. I mean, look me in my eyes.
Listen, some of us just.
If you're gonna draw that comparison, I don't have a criminal empire.
Not yet.
True. Okay.
You can just join mine. It's chill.
Okay. Teamwork.
Listen, some of us just want a wife that is strong enough to pick us up and beat us. And
on the concrete.
Yeah. Look,
after the semi-collapse of society.
Being afraid of your partner in that way is in a way hot.
I found the moment where she is just absolutely bashing in this man's head, just absolutely demolishing, and Carson just so maybe as soft as we've ever seen Carson, just, dear wife, my darling, please stop doing great violence. And the lack of fear there, they're just she's beating the shit out of those guys. There's a wonderful intimacy of that in seeing the ferocity that your partner can wield and just being like, yes. Yes.
I know you'd never do that to me unless I was asking for it.
I'm on the inside of that.
I mean, I think the thing is with that is she would do that to him. He notes in 5.7 that he goes to stop her from essentially ripping Ben and Ryder to pieces, and thinks, I'm going to lose my hand easier than I'm going to stop her, and so he puts his hand down. And
I'd forgotten about that.
He is scared of Mia in the right circumstances, which I think is the correct opinion to have.
The brain damage.
Okay, just to recap for those at home, I'm bright red and cradling my head in my hands.
I'm silenced Vivi for the rest of this episode.
Okay. I will throw a curveball then. Do you two want to have a Ben battle?
Oh, God. Sorry, everyone at home. There's more Ben content. We're still going.
I mean, it's Ben. I don't know.
The exhaustion in your voice.
Yeah, I'm always very conflicted on Ben because I like what Wildbow's doing with Ben. I think he's an excellent perspective on the entire story as an outsider to the criminality and all of that. I don't like him as a person. I just straight up dislike him a lot. I think I've made that pretty clear through all of the episodes.
I think after all this time, my main takeaway from Ben is good intentions and in a completely unaware way, completely concerned with his own moral viability. I'm trying to think of the word.
He is the virtue signal.
Yes. Yeah. He wants to feel justified, and so it was incredibly cathartic to watch him come face to face with Mia and expect to have a moral fence, moral fencing, essentially what we've all been doing in the background of reading Claw of is this? I mean, yeah, sure, the child Ripley was left in the car, but could have called the services, and I guess it's right, but it's also you stole the baby. Ben wants to do that, but Mia's no, I have shit to do. And I help.
I'm
get
busy.
out of the way.
I'm busy.
So I like where Ben's ended up, which is just like, I thought that I was going to meet Mia and we were going to have a battle to the death and I would receive the moral victory, and actually, no, I'm just kind of helping out.
Yeah, and then I also really love that, like, as much as like he hit her with like you are making society worse, but you're like making people more scared and more afraid. Like he got hit back, and like it's your fault that Ripley is where she is at the moment. Like that was on you, you know. Yeah, you could have like talked to us. You could have tried to communicate something. And it's like it's understandable why he didn't. But like, yeah, we like it's his fault. He called in the like the extra like cops, and then
yeah, and Mia's able to fire back against that energy really strongly because she doesn't feel any shame.
No.
I mean,
well, she's.
I imagine in a hypothetical Arc 6 that exists, she will feel the fact that Ripley wasn't clued in earlier, and there'll be like pain and suffering.
But yeah,
Mia's like, I was completely justified in all of my actions. It just would have been strategically better if I'd done this earlier. Whereas Ben is like, but I'm a good person and we're gonna talk about it. And Mia's like, I don't have time. There's guns to set up, guns to shoot, people to kill, people to live.
Yeah.
If I can draw all these threads in on the theme,
please do.
I think like as far as the quick goes, like beating down to the quick, and the notion of like that the double nature of when your resources are slim and you're like at the end of your rope, and things have to be done quickly. What sort of mistakes do you make? And like what things need to be dropped and deprioritized? What sort of what things start to what bad decisions do people make when under pressure, really? And there's a lot of injuries that accumulate over the course of this arc, which fit to that really visceral definition of like actually being carved to the quick.
Into the injuries.
Because oh golly, I mean, but I'm within the theme. They often come from people doing things too quickly, like Ben jumping over the window and getting his hand lacerated.
Yeah,
it still makes me uncomfortable thinking about.
Was like
symbolic.
Yeah, probably like there's been a lot of symbolism with the maiming, but the whole yes, when I hold my camera, my hand stops hurting. That's got to be that was like that.
Oh, okay.
I wonder what your crutch is.
some sort of moral backbone or thing you use for support.
And now Mia is. Yes, Carson's gunshot, Ben's hand, Bolden's legs.
Poor Bolden.
Poor Bolden.
Yeah, hope he's doing all right.
I hope Max is making him feel comfortable.
Oh god, the recording can't possibly pick this up, but the most dreamy look just came into Vivi's eyes.
I just wanted to be happy.
You have like head in hand on my desk, just like middle distance, dreaming of the chicken coop.
You are such a Fujoshi. Fucking.
I okay, fine. I'll start shipping Mia and Natalie, and then it will be obvious that I just ship queer people. I can't start talking about my own work on a podcast where I analyze someone else's work. I actually
themes.
Dark Desires.
Maybe I can. Dark Desires. Like the sort of like impulses and the things that, like impulse decisions, things that are done quickly that you just sort of like claw at without necessarily thinking them through. The start of the story, effectively, the inciting incident is Mia just going, I'm gonna take this baby, because that like her central desire of wanting to be a better mother than her mother was to her, and sort of like and very much as Natalie describes it herself, of like wanting to break the cycle, wanting to participate in as healing for yourself, the raising of someone right. And then we have Valentina having initially these as a sort of framing device, impulses toward hot boys, and then going, actually no, I'm not going to pull through on those because I may be horny, but I'm not stupid. And to then follow that into for bigger things that are less carnal and more serious, like this moral question of Addie. She, with patience and focus and without making a quick decision, comes to find the real answer.
Addie.
Addie. Oh, Addie.
Oh, Addie.
Oh, Addie. Yeah.
We figured you out too late.
Yeah. I hope that therapy can work for that. I don't know. Someone, in order to help someone, they have to want to be helped.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I am. God, that's good. That chapter came out like a week before I had a major university segment on child abuse, like perpetual child abuse of that kind. So interesting reflecting on that. But hey, I think there's a solid chance that Eddie can come back from this. I mean, in my personal opinion, I see it. Maybe not thematically, but logistically, I think it's possible.
Culty programmers anywhere?
Yeah. Oh, Addie.
That's a little too optimistic. Just for the vibe.
Welcome to the apocalypse. We don't have culty programmers. We have varieties of cult.
Oh yeah, sure. We'll just get you a clinical psychologist.
Yeah, that's gonna be hard.
Twice a week, and that will.
I mean, Tony can afford it, right? He worked for Davy as a lawyer when laws don't exist.
No, just spotted my note from earlier. Would you like? Oh man, I feel like I already touched on this earlier.
You can repeat yourself.
Valentina is the most important character. That's all it says. Yeah, I just really see. I want to see Valentina again. I want to be inside her head before we go. I want her to talk to I want Valentina to talk to so many people, because whenever Valentina talks to anyone, I feel like the fog clears and I see where the fog, or I hope I do. So I want Valentina and Mia to level, because every time Valentina and Mia have met, it's been like a real I'm saving you. And you're kind of terrified of me, but you finally have a safe place to be. But they're so similar. Like, Mia wanted to save Valentina like she saved Ripley and Tia, but Valentina has already been traumatized in similar ways to Mia. And Mia has avoided the cycle by saving these children young, but hasn't had to confront the cycle by being in contact with someone who's in a similar position to her. And there's been so much tension and so much fear and uncertainty on Valentina's side that they haven't spoken in the same way that Valentina and Carson have spoken. And I really wonder how that would go, especially post Ripley possibly being rescued.
Yeah.
Wherever Valentina goes, I follow.
That's a good way to put it. I like that.
Also, go find Max. Go find him.
Surely Max can help in the situation.
Please. Yeah. I miss what they had.
I mean, he's practiced giving people a leg up, you know?
Jesus. I really, because I mean, we've talked a lot about what different characters are clawing for. And I do wonder, what is it for Valentina? Because we talked in her second chapter, this arc, about family a bit and home. And the
whole cunt punching heart to heart.
Yeah.
And punting with the foot.
So sorry.
Very, very
Australian. That's not a slang thing. And I think the whole Dark Desires thing, Valentina has been took over for Mia, and Carson was managing things and being sort of got an emotional catharsis with Max, or someone she could actually level with and talk to, and the whole man, that guy's hot, that's pulling Valentina in a very different direction to where she's been sprinting, and it's I feel like that sort of shifted her into neutral, and now she's just spinning on momentum, where do I want to go? I don't know.
Yeah.
Carson and Valentina are back. This guy's hot, but he poured boiling sugar on his dad. What do I want?
Yeah, I mean, I did really appreciate that she decided she did not want that.
Oh yeah,
Because
definitely solid choice.
yeah, Jesus Christ.
Still love me if I boiled milk sugar on my dad.
I don't.
Oh, that was a general question, not necessarily for you, but I am intrigued.
Just throwing it out. My dear friend, I would still love you if you poured boiling sugar on your dad if you had a really good reason.
I would. Anyway.
Okay. On to BS predictions, and I'd just like to do some bold and specific plumbing.
Yeah, I was about to ask, why plumbing?
I just seemed like the word, we're looking back on what's coming through the pipes.
The vents.
The vents.
The vents.
Well, that's not plumbing, is it? It's
no.
ventilation.
Wait, no, we forgot to write down vents aren't plumbing. Did you just come up on the fly?
Bold and specific vent maintenance is what we're doing at the moment.
My BS prediction is that vents are plumbing.
Your plumbers work on vents. Get in the comments and tell us. So we were wondering about rotating perspectives, and we didn't get we ended up getting Ben, Val, Carson, Ben, Ripley, Val, Carson. So very jazzy.
Yeah, jazzy. Which, I mean, my first BS prediction was it was going to be rotating perspectives going backwards, and then Arc 6 will be Davy. So, I mean, no.
I mean, kind of got it. I mean, Ben, Val, Carson, and then the next step back in the pattern would be Mia, but we get Ben again instead. It's like, we're back here. Back with Ben. Oh, Ripley.
Ripley, yeah, that sure was. Oof. I don't know if excitement was the right word about Ripley's chapter. I loved it, but excitement.
I am doing a lot of work to not make puns on
good job.
Ripley's situation, and I
really got to give you a hand for that.
I bet that
which one? Oh.
We also were thinking that Sterling and Tyr could be at the same daycare, which could still happen.
No, I don't know, because one of the old people that they helped out is looking after Tyr.
Yeah, but she could work at the daycare.
Okay, technically it could still happen, but I don't think that one's true.
Underneath the daycare.
Yes. The secret supply of movies.
Then I had an excellent Addie and the girls got turned into secret sleeper agents via indoctrination prediction. I don't think that one's,
I mean, as far as indoctrination goes, Addie did get indoctrinated.
That's true.
Sort of caught a stray there.
Yeah, I'll take a half a point for that. That's not too bad. Oh god,
then had Mia proving that she's not a serial killer.
Yeah, by not killing a snake that's about to bite Ripley. And look, it could still happen. We just need to find a snake.
Next arc is
finally. Oh, sorry. I thought you were about to go to the next point, which I have been waiting for.
Okay.
But you say what you were going to say first, and then we'll go. We'll circle back.
Next arc is called Bear. The one after that is called Snake. Anyway.
Yeah.
My prediction was Carson dies, and I could elaborate.
Please, I can finally, now that we're actually recording, I can finally ask you. I can demand that you elaborate.
For context, I have just been saying I might elaborate for the last few weeks. So here's my thing. I think Carson's going to die because if Mia were to die, Natalie getting custody of Ripley would be very straightforward, and it would sort of circumvent the question of what best needs to be done in that situation, which is why I would say Ryder suggested it. Ryder was going for that really practical solution, and I think that has more dramatic tension value than it has message value as a thing that can happen in the story. So I don't think Mia is going to die. However, I do think someone is going to die because the amount of nigh lethal wounds that are being accreted are high. And as far as people that could get offed, I don't think Natalie deserves to die, so I'm not going to consider her too much. I don't think that Ben or Ryder are going to die. Except, well, actually, to be clear, I did make a prediction that Ryder was going to sacrifice himself in the blaze of glory.
Mm-hmm.
So I do see that happening, especially after his speech in 5.1.
Mm-hmm.
But I really think that Carson's character, this question of love and loyalty, this question of like what he is willing to do when he has this very clouded relationship with his emotions, and like isn't necessarily in contact with his like questions of values and what he was doing. He's very practically minded in terms of, I want to support my wife, I want to support my kids. And we have that moment in his chapter where he has that $1 million mug ploy, which I still think is hilarious. Like truly just bullshitting for your life, which is the only way that I would ever handle a situation like that. Because otherwise I would have a bad time. And the most important part when you're getting attacked in the streets in the post-apocalypse is, of course, to have a good time.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he thinks out loud, like, he thinks in the text that he would be okay with dying here if it meant that his family would be okay or would give them some advantage. And I think that is where he's come to value himself. And as far as characters that are defined by what they committed to and where they chose to stay, holding your ground until the only place you can stay is in the ground is sort of the ultimate demonstration of such. So if we wanted to come away from the story with a firm message of Carson's love was like real, the biggest thing he could do, could demonstrate it, would be to sacrifice himself.
And that's what would convince me.
Yeah, and that's what would convince detractors' legs over. That's what would really get you.
Yeah, that's good. Oh boy.
So essentially, I think Carson would die because it would really get my dear friend.
And we were talking about the injuries, and I could be wrong about this, but I'm running it through my head, and all the people that have a major injury, they're all limb injuries. But Carson has a gunshot to the torso. So he's got like an X marked on him. He's like, yes, this one will hit you in the center. Oh man, that would get it. Man, Carson's dead because it would get me.
Yeah, because
I learned something today.
As a counterpoint, I think there, like you said, like about where Ripley goes, either Mia or Natalie, and like obviously having Mia die or Natalie die would kind of make the point moot. But have you considered what if Ripley dies?
So that's a really fucked up thing for you to say.
Oh God!
And why would you say that? Why come on.
I mean,
come on. Kippos.
Yeah, that's fair. But I mean, it would kind of cut the Gordian knot, like wouldn't have to worry about where Ripley goes.
Just going to the ground.
I mean, we've already had the Solomon's Child reference, but again, that's locked. Oh, I keep
They're there.
Shush.
So Kibbos, can you explain this next prediction?
Oh yeah, this is my favorite one. So after this, Ben and Ryder grab Mum, kill Phil, go down to the pub, and wait for all of this to just blow over.
What does this mean? What?
Come on, you have to get that reference.
Make references that I don't understand, but I don't get it.
Maybe you need to watch better films.
Cyrano, you seem to be on the ball.
No, I just think it's a hilarious sequence of words.
Oh my God, you people! This is just a note to our audience here. Don't do a podcast with children that are too young to appreciate classic cinema.
We have a book full of films that we need to watch. Please add one to the list.
Shaun of the Dead.
We started in the 1940s, so I feel like we're going to take a while.
It's Shaun of the Dead. It's a blast.
Oh, the Dead. I've seen Shaun of the Dead.
Oh God!
I just didn't enjoy it.
And that's the only one of the trilogy.
I remember seeing The Pub at the End of the World of the Cornetto trilogy.
Yeah, I've seen them.
And I don't think I saw the one with the cops.
Hot Fuzz?
No, I didn't see Hot Fuzz.
Did you just call Hot Fuzz the one with the cops? Oh my god!
I
Hot Fuzz is also a
I
blast.
read books.
Oh, you read books.
Ugh,
I read
nerd.
I just guess what signs say. What do I do, huh?
So
Anyway,
zombies to appear later in Claw. Got
Yeah.
it. Okay.
yeah.
I was wondering if there would be a Bendemption arc.
Which I mean,
Uh,
there a little bit was kind
yeah,
of.
I'm wondering what a Bendemption arc actually constitutes because um, the question is like, has he really done anything wrong?
Wow,
Um,
he's been
like
annoying. So
he's been
yes.
annoying. He sold them out to the police. So I guess his big mistake there was trusting authority.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he's been pretty ineffectual as far as assisting Mia because like at some level it's because this information isn't applicable. He's a very different kind of surveillance person. But also there's some degree of like, haha, it's Ben less clever than Mia. Uh, which I think oh, there's
Wow, I love
pretty solid.
clothes.
There's some amount of the representation in for just people that are in the community and just want Ben to be a little fail child.
You can just say me. Like you don't have to. You don't have to. You know.
Give us we had a lot to work with.
Yeah.
But, like, how do you redeem that, as it were? Is it finding competency? Is it like becoming a criminal himself? Is it saving Ripley himself? Um, I don't know.
Yeah. Truly, I don't know either.
Well, that's because you don't want it to happen.
Well, I would actually be okay if Ben got less annoying. That would be a win in my book.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think a redemption arc for Ben would be Ben getting over himself and no longer attempting to one up the criminals around him who just could not get it in.
One
Yeah.
upping criminals is probably part of the frustration there. Yeah.
And also just being a pain in the ass and thinking he can like dictate how everything goes. I'm not
He's
going to
just
go
a
do this
normal.
little task for you if you don't tell me exactly what it's for. Oh, fine, I'll do it myself then. Oh no, I want to be helpful. Let me do it. Let me do it. Fuck you, Ben. You annoying piece of shit.
And the truth comes out.
And I like him okay. I think I've made that pretty clear.
And this next prediction from you.
Yes, my amazing prediction of they've snuck Ryder in as one of the police hanging outside. He's going to go bold on their Oscars and swoop in to rescue the girls. And I don't know, it hasn't happened yet.
Which would cash in on the Ryder self-sacrifice prediction.
Yeah.
And I think Ripley will elect to save Natalie when she could have escaped on her own, causing both to be recaptured.
And oh boy, that's a depressing idea.
Hey, I can do pessimism too. It's just that whenever I do it, I assume I'm going to be wrong, and I'm excited about being wrong about it.
Well, I also hope that you're wrong about it. That one's brutal. So my next one was they've left Andre outside in the car as a dark mirror of what happened with Camellia 10 years ago. And I mean, it wasn't quite accurate, but it got to the heart of what really happened there.
Actually, undershot, yeah.
Yeah. Oof.
Definitely a hot car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very hot car.
Very hot car.
Almost as hot as y'all find Mia. When Addie realizes that Davy doesn't really love her, she and Val team up to slash his face instead. Poetic justice. It's amazing because that actually happens in 5.7, but we just don't see it because it's off screen.
Right, of course. Well, tick that one off. Correct. So my final one was Ben and Ryder ran into trouble taking the cabin. Luckily, our favorite cabin boys, Sax, showed up to save the day and get the signal through, which again could still be true.
And Ripley will see Mia and Carson, ragged with injuries and figuratively dark, in or from their encounter with Davy, and that will change her mind to go with Natalie instead.
Heartbreaking.
Absolutely brutal.
If I break my heart first, then I won't have to confront it being broken later.
Yeah, that's a BS prediction to just like itch the wound.
Yeah.
Just like if I think about it, it'll make me feel better.
So what do you think of our predictions overall? Do you think we're being reasonable?
I think so. I mean, some real fucked up shit has happened.
Yeah.
There's a variety. There's a variety of like, oh, could be a possibility. Wouldn't that be fun? some of these are hilarious. You fully got me with Carson dies. That was exactly. I mean, I've been waiting for it for weeks, and I think I got what I wanted.
To be doubly clear, my dear friend is at arc 6 of Worm. We have established this.
Yeah, which we can talk about after in our after the
Yes,
outro.
I just thought I should like bang that drum repeatedly.
Yeah.
Because that's where the rest of my working is.
Yeah. Whenever we talk about Wildbow, half the things you say to me are just like vaguely threatening. Ooh, ooh.
That's a really perfect impression.
Like
Yeah.
you've started.
I mean, everyone's been they're hearing me on this podcast just
Like,
go ooh for hours.
Yeah.
Sometimes you like we'll just be sitting in silence, and then you'll go dragon, and I'll be like, shut up. Yeah.
I mean, I think you now know from 5.5 that Wildbow doesn't pull punches. So
Yeah, which makes me even more afraid for everyone surrounding Toby. But
Actually, Kippos, it's pull punch.
Pretty good.
So BS predictions.
Yeah.
You want to start us off?
Yeah. So my BS prediction is that there will actually be a real forest fire. Ben and Ryder didn't manage to go spoof the signal. It's all just like it's just real. Like there's just a fire happening. Yeah.
I am absolutely doubling down on Carson dying. I think I'm right about
that. Fair enough. And mine. Oh, it's the one that I've been gunning for a long time because I love Val and Max so much. Val calls Max in for rescue/help. I want Val. I want Val to talk. I want Val to reach out, and I want her to reach out to Max because what they've got going on is great. And I think Max might be. Oh, this is conjecture, but I think if Val thinks about what she really wants, it'll be something like what Max has got going on.
Yeah, and go to the two dads household.
Yeah, I think Val wants to. I think Val wants to learn more from Max, so I hope she calls him in. And of course, the cousin will live forever by uploading his brain to a piece of tech, and he'll watch over Mia forever, and then she'll join him, and they'll live in worldwide surveillance together. Ever.
How beautiful.
Which is a verbatim quote that you said out loud.
I did, and then you wrote it down. Like,
well, I needed notes for the episode, and I did tell you at the time.
Yes. And I still believe it.
Kippos, you convinced?
So what?
What? Carson will live.
Will Carson live in the form of an uploaded AI?
You're the tiebreak.
Am I the tiebreak? Shit, that's dangerous. I think he will, but he will be corrupted, so he loses the love.
That's so much worse.
And that's everything else is a perfect transfer except for the love skills. So that's nice and heartbreaking for you guys. That's
yeah, thanks for that.
Really just crushing the glass shards at this point.
Fine powder.
You have another BS prediction here, which I like.
Oh, I do, and it's literally just it was a last minute thing, but I hope Addie kills Davy. However, whenever, wherever, I don't care. I don't see Dark Vengeance coming to fruition for Val. I think what happens for Val will be much more interesting, but I think, or maybe Val will go to kill Davy and Addie will get there first, something like that. But I mean, child abuse is a really awful thing, and I think Addie should get to kill Davy as a treat. Yeah, and I think that'd be fun.
You know, it's a I didn't think the lions would eat my face situation of like if you're going to train someone to be a incredibly hostile torturer, then sort of comeuppance if they go, oh, I could torture the one person I have the strongest connection to. That could be fun.
Yeah, I like that. Like you say, like, you know, you don't want Dark Vengeance for Valentina because she's your favorite character, but you clearly want Dark Vengeance. You just don't want it to be spent on someone that you love so much.
And she should go and get to live with her dad.
Who is Max, right? Yeah.
That's my belief.
Dad 3.0.
Dad 3.0. Third time's the charm.
I really think that Dark Vengeance has a deep appeal that any comment section will hound for blood over. So the have your cake and eat it too sort of eat your cake and have it too. Thank you, previous discussion question. The arrangement where we get both the vengeance and the moral high ground and the full reconciliation and forgiveness, or you just like by careful positioning the characters, everyone gets the best possible ending, and you as a reader get a full smorgasbord of flavors. I think that's great fun. So from there, we can get into the guest questions.
Oh
boy. What is your favorite character?
Well, it's Valentina. It's Valentina. Always has been. Always will be. She's got a rat's nest of a brain happening. She's adapted so well. She's so intelligent. She's so reflective. She's like not just like emotionally motivationally shaky, but she's questioning everything, and she's been given all of the like. It's not that it's so many characters in this story have had things taken away from them and are clawing to get something, but Valentina had something that she didn't want, ran away from it, and now has all of these options and opportunities and these people that want to help her and teach her to do things and like lead her down various garden paths. And she gets to pick what she wants, and what she wants really matters to me. So Valentina is my favorite.
Good answer.
Thanks, Kip.
You're welcome. How about your least favorite?
Least favorite.
And why is it Ben?
Call that least favorite. I mean, there's the character that makes there's got to be a character that makes me the most unhappy, and the character that I just could take or leave, I guess. They're all very fun. Least favorite.
You could be incredibly niche and not pick from the mainline cast and go for someone.
That's true.
Thanks.
I don't trust Tia. No, I'm kidding.
I really hate Carlos, that guy.
What's Tier's buying in on this whole toy, huh?
Least favorite? I don't.
Says he wants Blanky and Milky and nap time.
I don't trust.
It's pretty sus.
My least favorite. Oh man. I don't think I have a least favorite, but I think Carson is so present. And obviously he's always there. He's Mia's right hand, but he's just kept reading Carson has kept me so off kilter in a way that I'm not used to. That I don't know. I don't have a least favorite, but Carson sure does push my buttons.
Most uncomfortable.
Yeah, something uncomfy, but Natalie I hate, but then love.
Yeah.
But we've all felt that. Whereas Carson, it's like, you're definitely here for the long run, but I don't know why, so I don't trust it.
See, it's funny you said Carson is Mia's right hand, but he really needs to be Ripley's right hand at the moment.
CV, we're doing it for you.
What is the worst crime in the story so far?
Worst crime. Cutting the arm off the 11-year-old.
Yeah,
that's the obvious answer.
That's a good answer.
I mean, Davy Cavalcanti essentially manhandling the whole.
Manhandling, really? Handling?
God damn it! I mean, that's not right.
Now I'm just gonna be vigilant to find puns that you two don't even mean to make.
Worst crime.
That's all right by me.
It has to be the arm of the 11-year-old. I'm trying to think.
Like it's either the arm of the 11-year-old or it's the burning car. I feel like,
or it's Addie.
No, you're right.
Yeah, that's also pretty bad.
Grooming Addie is the worst for me.
There is one thing that was worse though.
You've got the look. Yeah.
Remember that one time?
Do the bit.
Remember that one time that Valentina was working as an Amazon service worker, and that dude asked her to wire her money because she was a little bit late, and she didn't know how much to give him, so she gave him all days. It was way too much, and he obviously sure, maybe the package was important, but you're bullying a teenager that. That is criminal. That is criminal, and I think Addie can cope.
Good answer.
Amazon guy. That's the worst.
That's the true evil.
Yeah. So speaking of more worst things, what was the worst thing that was not a crime?
Worst thing that was not a crime. Ugh. Worst thing that was not a crime. It wasn't I mean, he is a criminal, so consorting with a criminal. But the moment when Ben and Ryder decided to work with the decision to work with Davy to try and get Ripley back,
Yeah,
that was
good answer.
that was the one that truly broke my heart because it was just such a bad choice.
Calling the police? Now that's a crime.
Calling the police? I think that was not a crime, 100%.
Yeah, I like that answer.
What's your worst thing that was not a crime, Kip?
Shit, I wasn't expecting this to be sprung on me.
Ah! I can buy you time. I think the worst thing that was
Thank
not
you.
a crime is when Max was teaching Valentina how to drive, because that was a really sweet bonding moment. And I think that he was just like really, like getting all over her with that blood, and like he really should have kept his personal space. And it's really hard to learn how to drive, and I think that Valentina is a really receptive learner, so that he didn't need to be so like I feel like he was more aggressive than he had to be.
Wow,
Speaking
so
of the
true.
car chase has reminded me of who my least favorite character is, and it's that basically humanoid AI gun drone.
Oh, the one that just goes woo.
Yeah, that one. The one
Yeah.
that spins.
That's a
Spinning gun drone.
good answer. Look, I think this is going to be controversial, so of course it is because it's me.
It's your specialty.
It is my specialty. Wow, I pronounced that word weird. So in a very interpersonal way. So I do agree that I think like kind of the objectively worst thing was like calling the cops. That one time, like obviously that fucked everything. But I think in a very interpersonal way, the way that Ben films everybody at all time without asking for any consent or anything like that, and only asks for consent after the fact to put them in the movie, in the documentary, like that is genuinely really gross. I hate it. I hate that so much. It makes me very viscerally uncomfortable.
The blip where the bomb had gone off in the school and Ben's filming Josie. And it's like, dude, come on. Not necessary.
Yeah.
Right now, come on.
Yeah.
You're blocking the stairwell.
And when he's like filming like Eve in the hospital and everything, and like the parents of these other kids and everything. Ugh, I hate it.
Favorite character, Eve, for taking the pencil.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Yeah, I genuinely found that like just very viscerally, very uncomfortable. Yeah, hate it.
Is it time?
I believe it is time.
Is it time for Dragon Crab Bear?
I think again a good old 3 rounds of Dragon Crab Bear ought to cheer everyone up. So just a reminder, this is a Claw VV variant on Fuck, Marry, Kill, where you can Dragon, Crab, or Bear. You can keep, Snip, and Bear. Keep as in Horde, involve in your life. Who would you want to have around at all costs? Snip as in cut out, remove from your life. Who would you want to keep away at all costs? And Bear as in carry, invest in their life. Who would you want to help at all costs?
This first one is fucked.
I have really gathered together the ones that I felt would be the most divisive.
Oh, you have to read it as you've written it because that's a great line.
I've prepared some bespoke what the fuckles for our perusal. Val, Ripley, and Sterling to start.
This one, yeah. Look, I think I'm gonna have to go ahead and say
Dragon, Crab, or Bear.
Oh, I thought we were
Val, Ripley, or Sterling.
Just sending these out to the.
No, we're doing them.
You are
I think you've got to snip Sterling. Like I feel for the kid, I really do, but I like Valentina and Ripley a lot more. I think I would keep Valentina around and I would like invest in Ripley's life because that poor fucking kid. But like all three of them, it's like that poor fucking kid. It's just Sterling I care about less.
See, that's crazy because my first call was to snip Ripley.
Oh, that's brutal. She's already got snipped once.
We're on.
Well, the thing is, she's already in such high demand that as far as bearing her goes.
Oh my god!
Listen, I can be confident that with Natalie and Mia and Davy and like everyone all scrambling to try and like possess Ripley themselves, I think she's in good hand.
I did catch that. Yeah, good job.
And so from there, I would probably bear with Val. I think that she's pretty close, but I think that um, as far as progress goes, like that's where I can be of the most help.
Mm-hmm.
And what Sterling needs is really just company. So I think you can put Sterling down for keep,
Yeah.
and just like see him like just flower from being involved in things and not being on the outside or ignored.
Yeah. Oh man. Is that me? Well, obviously, I am heavily invested in Valentina, so I will bear Valentina.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, Ripley and Sterling are competing for Snip for me
Brutal.
because you're right that Sterling desperately needs attention. And you know how I feel about like people that don't look their babies in the eyes on public
Mm.
transport. Just like talk to your baby. Like I,
We have been regularly heckling
oh
such adults.
man, yeah. Everyone look up the still face experiments. Babies need attention. Anyway, so I love Sterling, so I want to keep Sterling, but I also want I agree with Ripley that Natalie needs to reinvest in Sterling
Mm.
because Ben's been paying Sterling a lot of attention, and I've found that interesting that Ben's like, well, Natalie's not doing enough for Sterling, so I'll pay attention to this kid. Like there's no like Natalie and Sterling need to have a heart to heart, so I will snip Sterling so that Natalie can keep Sterling,
Mm-hmm.
and then I will keep Ripley because we want her back.
Three unique answers. I like that.
As for the next one, we've got Mia, Natalie, and Carson.
Yeah, this
I,
one's hard
I
again.
have an easy answer here
Oh, go
because you
ahead.
can snip Carson because he's going to die. So
Jesus Christ.
I think Natalie needs the most help. So I will bear with Natalie and I will keep Mia around because if I keep her around, then she won't hurt me in particular. She'll just kind of radiate it out into the world.
Hmm. See, I think I have like the opposite logic there because like I also would keep Mia, but I think I want her to hurt me. I think I don't know. This is horrible. I snip Natalie. Fuck you, Natalie. I feel for Natalie a lot, but I as a person, she just doesn't seem like the nicest. So I don't. Yeah. And I'll bear Carson. I'll look after him. Mia looks after me. I look after Carson. Natalie fucks off. That's perfectly fine by me.
Oh yeah, I'm having trouble with this one. I think I'm gonna snip Mia because she's the most likely to kill me out of the three of them.
Yeah,
Much as
she's the
I
most likely to kill you.
like for some reason I'm looking at this and I'm just seeing like most to least likely to kill me. He's top of that list, so sorry, Mia. You're doing fine. Uh, and then much as I have conflicting feelings about Carson, he's very charismatic and I think he'd be fun to have around. So I'll keep him. And obviously, Natalie deserves help, so I will bear Natalie because we know Natalie has had trouble accessing mental health care. So maybe that could be my bear. Is I can refer her to a psychologist. That's my bear for Natalie. And then me and Carson can just grab a beer.
Okay, that's cool.
I like that.
Yeah, but just before he dies. But the last collection is Max Bolden and Ryder, and I think this is probably going to be the least
Yeah, I
controversial.
agree.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, I'm sniffing Ryder. Fuck cops. I think I would bear Bolden and keep Max. Like Max is not in a great place, but he's in a lot more of like an emotionally stable place than Bolden. And Bolden just needs someone to fucking help him. And needs people to be around. Yeah.
Yeah, I have the exact same answer.
Hmm.
Ryder, you gotta leave him to his business. Bolden, get him a wheelchair or some little like some splints to help his legs and some chickens and a shower.
Oh God, yes, a
And
shower.
It'll have a very long shower.
this is wild. I'm thinking about. I do want to keep Max. I would like to keep Max around. And I really like Max.
Aww.
I'd like to have Max around the house. I think.
Okay, well, hey, if you had Max and Bolden and company, then Valentina would show up in her own time. So I'm sure it'll
Yes.
be fine.
I would help Bolden by putting him
Um,
in the same house as Max.
yeah. Well, that was my plan. I was gonna snip Ryder and then say I would bear with Max, because I think that Max is going to be spending a lot of energy bearing with Bolton and giving him the care
Is
that's
that what they're
required.
calling it these days?
And so I'd keep Bolton around because I'm sure that Max can take care of him for me. So yeah, I mean, we could dwell a little bit more on poor Ryder. He's trying his best and is not good.
No.
But I think that might just be our show.
Yeah.
Might just be.
Crazy.
Okay.
Well, I really liked finishing on a little game. That was lovely.
Oh.
A little game.
Do you have any guest plugs?
Well, I don't really. So I was like, what do I plug? I'm just a person. You're like, I don't know. And you said I can plug anything, including like a book. And I have been reading a collection of short stories called The Dangers of Smoking in Bed by Mariana Enriquez, which was recommended to me by a friend who loves body horror more than anyone else I know. And reading Worm and reading Claw uh, is very much on the like that fantastic, intense, carnal, like horrific, like intimate psychological mess. And The Dangers of Smoking in Bed has been giving me my fix. So it's a fantastic book, and Wildbow enjoyers will definitely enjoy it without a doubt.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for suggesting it.
Yeah.
With that, that's our show for at least the casual listeners segment.
Yeah, the
Check out
hardcore
Wildbow's.
listeners stay around.
Yeah, the real hardcore Wildbow fans that can go into spoiler territory without fear. Check out Wildbow's Patreon at patreon.com/Wildbow. This is his criminal empire. We're just being blackmailed into service.
And please give us a rating and a review on the podcatcher of your choice.
If you want to chat about the show or follow along with live reads, check out the channel on the Duff Media Discord. Find the invite link at duffmedia.com/discord.
And for this interrogation, we're keen to cross-reference Claw with Worm in particular, now that it's long enough not to pale in comparison. So before we can twig you out, if you'd like to ward away spoilers, now's the time to worm your way out before the pact is sealed. You've been warned. So let's get into Wider Wildbow.
Well, at least the first 6 arcs of Worm.
So could you explain what the fuck you were thinking starting Worm?
Well, here's the thing. Now that we don't have to be afraid of spoilers, I'm in love with you, and you really like Worm. So I figure, hey.
Sorry, I guess it's a Wildbow spoiler that you love.
What if for your birthday I had read Worm, so I started reading Worm.
That's adorable.
And it's thank you. It's really good. I really like it. And it is so fascinating to see this author in the larval state.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. What's it like reading like his current book and then something from like literally like 10 years ago? Longer, actually.
Yeah, it's really like it's I think the thing that really sticks out to me is there are the moments where you can see like the sprout of like what it's going to become, and it's because like the quality and the intensity and the passion of the work, whenever there's like whenever there's a creature being described or like a psychological impact being detailed, the writing becomes like you can just hear like the fucking.
So
no,
for those at home,
I'm doing hand movements. The hand movements aren't recorded. You can. It's like pop rocks. Like I can just like hear it fizzing whenever that kicks in, and then we get back to like, oh yes, we're in a web serial and we're having high school drama, which is also like intense, and it's very good writing, obviously, because this is a writer that will just keep on writing and getting better. But there are the moments like the first time that bitch's dogs come on scene, or like I've just gotten to the bit where we see Lung in like final form with the X-shaped nose mouth. And I'm like, yes, the thing you really like to do is describe horrific shit. So and yes, I like the world building is right there. There's a real talent for world building, and the fucking like the enormous amounts of characters that have been like trooping onto the scene is insane. Because I'm like, this is like we're like 10,000 words in, and there's like 100 characters already. So this has already been cooking, and that's the flavor.
Yeah, I think definitely in Worm there are a lot more characters than in Claw. The Claw cast is like pretty cut down in terms of like in a comparison.
I think some amount of that is something that is true of Pale as well, which is that in creating a unique system with which to express the world through and create characters in, I think especially I know this for a fact with Worm that there was multiple drafts of different possible perspectives. Um, there was a version where Faultline was the protagonist, and over the course of that sort of crucible, slow cooking process of gathering more and more momentum in the world, I think Wildbow generates a lot of potential characters, whereas what's going on with Klaus is like pretty shut and composed in terms of like, what each character's particular purpose is, and doesn't have that kind of expansive what abilities, what expressions, what symbolism could come in, what interactions could have.
Yeah, and I also see Claw as being like so focused in terms of like the aesthetic and the atmosphere and the genre and the themes. It's like zero focus. It's like balance beam tightrope. It's like this is what we're here to do and talk about, and these characters are going through this. And in Worm, it feels like I don't know. It feels like sandbox Wildbow in comparison of like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if a person could do this? Because I think that'd be neat. And here's the system in which that exists, like tinkers and things and all of that. And this expansive world building of like how big I can just make this as big as I want because I made it all up. And it's like it's very free and it's almost hedonistic reading Worm. Just like yeah, and I've been talking to you about that of like this like superhero world building. And obviously when you make a world full of superheroes, you're like, okay, so what's the cap? Because we can't let this get ridiculously out of hand because otherwise like powers will paradox each other and there'll just be like power creep. And in Worm, yeah, everyone can just do insane like mind world bending shit, and it has horrible, tragic, unusual consequences, and it's riveting. Whereas in Claw, it's like, ah, yes, these people are all under the thumb. They're crawling around in the dirt, trying to cling to the people they love. So, yeah, I see Worm as like as like the early period running naked in the woods, and then Claw is like, okay, well, let's what themes do I want to explore?
I didn't want to interrupt you earlier. I love you too.
Oh, great.
I would like to pose to you the guest questions once again.
Oh, that's
favorite,
good.
least favorite, worst crime, worst thing that was not a crime.
Worst crime.
So for those at home, what happened was that my dear friend threw their hand at their face.
I'm all worst. Worst crime is that I don't know. Worst crime is that so far Gregor does not have a like mind to converse with. I really like
Gregor the snail doesn't have a good conversation partner.
I like him more than I like. Like sure, choke slam someone to the ground just to try and get them to be like no one
helpful.
I
Same
like,
thing that you guys are into
I like
about
Gregor,
Mia.
and the crime is that he hasn't. Again, actually, that might be the worst thing that was not a crime.
Worst thing that was not a crime. Gregor the snail does not have a good partner to chat with.
Worst crime. Worst crime. There's a million things running through my head right now. I did not prepare for this. Worst crime is whatever Amy's got going on. Worst, I don't know, like whatever's about to crack there. I think, yeah. Worst crime is what if I fucked up your taste buds, you little terrorist. Just that line. That's the crime. Is whatever that implies about.
It's crazy because whenever you say that line, what if I fucked up your taste buds, you little terrorist? I have this vivid memory of like a bright gold day of walking, like when I was like 15, 16, like walking back from school and reading that on my phone. But it just slams in fully because I feel like it was just sort of like a pin in the past. Like you have all those like references and sense memories and like ways that you construct the narrative of your life. And there's this firm, definite moment of when I read that the single line of dialogue.
That's the bolt of the compass. Everything swings from there.
Yeah.
It's a fucking good line. Let's be honest.
And she didn't even do it.
No,
but she said that she could.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. So, who's your least favorite character then?
Least favorite character. Oh, I don't like Gallant.
Wow, that's a strong choice to make when there are literal Nazis in the book.
No, you're so right.
You do know Purity, you do know Kaiser.
Oh, of course it's Kaiser.
Kaiser sucks.
No, I heard it was Gallant. I heard that the teenager was, worse than the literal Nazi.
Too much.
It's a similar custom thing. My alarm bells go off. I don't know. I'll like him. But yeah, definitely it's gotta be Kaiser. Knife man.
Knife soup man.
Knife soup man.
I mean, to be fair, it is allowed to be Gallant. Like,
like we can it's what you were saying earlier of like most despicable, most uncomfortable. Like, it's one thing for least favorite to mean, well, I will give the fundamentally correct answer of the most evil person that I can point at. But there's also the answer of like the vibe's bad.
Gallant vibes based, but oh, actually, yes, the interlude where Purity goes and visits him in the office and he's being a cunt. That was really fun. Yeah,
I did actually. I reread that interlude the other day, and yeah, he's such a prick. Oh my god.
Yeah. So Kaiser.
Okay.
Kaiser's the answer there.
Which leaves the question of favorite character.
Which, I mean, I answered this question the other day because you asked me, and then you made a face about it. So I don't know if I should say it on the. I mean.
No, now you have to say it.
Well, I have to say it. And apparently it's a fairly common choice, but like every time she's on the scene, it's absolutely electric. It's Amy. I find Amy an engaging character to read because I have no idea what's going on there.
Yeah.
But it's gotta be something insane. And I'm excited to see it.
And just for posterity, that was
I also really like Tattletale for the record.
Favorite as in engaging and favorite as in like the person you feel like you like the most.
I like Amy.
Okay.
Cool. Awesome.
Okay. We got that on record.
She's crazy.
Just checking, we got that on record.
It's on record, yeah.
This is going to be the most insane foreshadowing when I listen to this back in 2 months when I've finished Worm, and I'll find out what all of this eye contact means.
Well, yeah, it's a touchy subject.
I like Worm very much, and I have relaxed feelings about all the characters.
Well, I've read into this sort of thing before, but as far as a universal cure for Amy discourse, I think this will really agitate things even worse. I'm
sorry if I've opened old wounds.
Welcome to the circus, Amy Allen, favorite character.
As far as I know from what you've told me, saying that is like essentially taking safety off the gun. Like I haven't done anything.
Oh,
haven't I?
I wouldn't post that opinion in the subreddit as just like a thread.
Skip all of
it. Yeah, you don't have to know about any of it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
The era is past. Rid of my claw now. I can enjoy my worm in peace. I can enjoy my taste buds in peace.
Real quick, Kippos, by name alone, favorite and least favorite?
Oh, in Worm? Shit.
Yeah. Because your friend won't have context for what the names necessarily mean.
I think favorite. If I'm gathering knowledge from not just Worm, favorites is Sveta. But she does appear in both. Yeah.
And we have a reaction to a name that I don't know.
Yeah.
This is for the past 3 months.
In just in terms of Worm, it's probably Contessa as my favorite. Like I love a competent woman. Least.
It's crazy because Contessa is actually played by Mia Hurst in the
Oh,
film.
amazing. That's everything I want. Least favorite is probably Bitch. I don't really fuck with Bitch.
Ooh, I fuck with Bitch.
Yeah, it's
I
like
think Rachel's great.
I don't know. She doesn't work for me, I feel like. I don't think that she is my least favorite out of all of the characters. I think out of the characters that I can that are like very right in the forefront of my mind, I'm like, Bitch is my least favorite.
Okay.
You?
Well, as far as favorite characters go, Dragon looms very big, and I also feel very strongly about a couple of characters that are like really really niche and like in terms of like they don't get very much screen time, but they were really iconic for me. Um, and of the least egregious of those, I would say Legend, because I don't there's something about the aesthetic of Legend's power that really just
Yeah.
I find very comforting, and the symbolism of what's going on with him really appeals as well.
Oh, and speaking of your favorites, I think it's worth mentioning that you, with your foresight and knowledge of Worm, have anticipated that my favorite character will be Armsmaster.
Yes, I think you were going to like Armsmaster. Defiantly, I think you're going to like
So I guess
Armsmaster.
we'll see.
But we'll see about Colin. His name's Colin.
His name's Colin. I just know.
He's some dude.
I can't be mean about it.
And as far as least favorite goes, and they're the obvious answers. But I think the one that will cause the most discourse and the most fights is Amy Dallin.
Fantastic. Good answer.
And if people get in the comments about that, Kippos, you'll reply to all of them since that's.
Apparently, I love wading into arguments. It's my favorite thing to do.
Okay, as long as it's one of us.
I live for drama. I mean, I do actually live for drama, just not my own.
And I just want to give a shout out to Regent.
Yeah.
And there's one more character but I just forgotten. I don't think.
Oh, not this again.
Yeah, I think I know. Yeah, I think there's a character there that I also really like. I just don't remember.
Might have been one more, but
something about a jar. I think we need money in a jar or something. I'm not sure.
Something about like making a particular joke too much.
Yeah,
Maybe please bring me
way too much.
And on that note, that's our episode. Thank you so much for listening in. Catch us next week.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Bye for now.